Okay, it's the end of the second week in June here, and we're going to take a look around the orchard. First off is our pear tree, and I went and thinned it last week. So I thinned it down to one fruit per cluster in all these, or all the ones, probably, hopefully all of them. So that really dropped a bit of fruit off. That helped to, space it out, not make it so heavy on some of the branches. And I think that'll be good for it overall. So other than that, not a lot of difference. They're looking good. No problems with the leaves and stuff. No pests really. Pretty good. I do need to trim up some water spouts there, but other than that, the tree looks pretty good. The cherry tree has had a dramatic change. Last week they were red but not quite ripe, and this week there's some of them that are ripe, so you can see tons and tons of cherries everywhere, and lots of bird activity because they decided that they're ready. Some of them still they're very nice and fat, and they're not quite black. You can kind of see the blackening there, maybe not, but they get a little darker than that, I believe. So I think they get to about to be this dark when they're ready. It's hard to tell. It's a slight change because now at this one here, still has a little bit of tartness in it. Just a touch. The trick with this is always to time the picking of the cherries with the birds picking of the cherries, because they will come out here when they decide it's ready and clean the entire tree in an afternoon. I guess that's why they call it Twitter. They must all get together and be on the same social network or whatever, but when they know it's ready, it is gone in an afternoon. So literally happened last year morning. I was like, oh, pick those when I get home. Came home, they were all gone. So like I said, lots of them, especially on the part up there that is wasn't pruned because I couldn't take the rest of that off because of the just too much taken off the tree, and that has produced tons of stuff because there's no competition, and tons of cherries you can see on the antenna sticking up there and all over the place. So they are they're good. They're so close. So probably in a couple days I'll start trying to think about whether or not excuse me, I can pick some of them today. I might pick selective ones just to make sure we do get some from the birds. But the aphid problem is still there, but definitely not as noticeable. So there's still some spaces where they are, but once again, because of the giant size of the tree and all the other leaves, I decided to just let it go and focus on just making sure taking care of the harvest, and dealing with the birds instead of the insects. So it hasn't really made hasn't damaged the tree, hasn't really made a huge impact, and so they're just bunches here and there, but not a big problem at all. With the apple tree, I went and thinned it last week to one fruit per cluster. So each one of those clusters now, there'll just be a single fruit. There were some of them that had 6 to 7 fruits per cluster, which is not sustainable for the tree, and also contributes to the every other year cycle, where last year it didn't bear at all, this year it would. So hopefully I'm going to work on that. One of the things is I thought I was doing a good job looking at the trees and checking things out, but until I got in there and had to actually go all over the place to try and find all those fruits to thin out, I didn't realize a lot of stuff that I was missing. There was a lot of things going on in there. There was some of the woolly apple aphid. Looks like on the branch it looked like little bits of cotton, and found several of those. They were on small spurs, so I just cut them off. But just one of those things, until you get up in there and spend some good quality time with the tree, don't realize what you're missing. Think you're doing a good job, like me, looking on the outside, but until you get up in there and look around and notice things, then you find things that you didn't know were there. So I also thinned out a few small branches to kind of open things up, because as you can see, there's a lot of crossing going on and it's really dense in here, and that's not good for circulation or sun penetration, because if the sun can't get in, it doesn't produce as good of quality of apples. And also just because when the branches are touching, the leaves are so close and clustered, it doesn't let the tree breathe properly and can increase the risk of infections and also other issues. So, but I don't think there's anything that I missed that I could show you. I didn't take any pictures of the fuzzy woolly apple aphid, but looks like I do have that. So I'll have to, I think I cut out a lot of parts, so I think it'll be pretty much self-limiting. Looks like that's part of it right there. There's some that I missed, just a tiny little bit. If you can see in the crotch of between these two leaves, it's right there. It's just a little piece of downy, fuzzy looking stuff, and those are a different kind of aphids. Who knew there were so many kinds? Green ones on the peaches, black ones on the cherries, and now the woolly apple aphids on the apples. So one thing I haven't done yet and a little bit late for is the codling moth treatment. I just, because of the garden, just got to looking at it this past week, and that is what causes worms in the apples here in Utah, is most likely codling moth. And unfortunately, I was busy with the garden and didn't look this up in time, so I missed the first generation. So the first generation is already laid. The eggs are hatching now, so anything in there's not a whole lot I can do. I can try and spray, but it's kind of tricky. So we'll be working on that as well. Hopefully we'll protect all these beautiful apples from getting the worms in them, because obviously not good. So going to our peach tree, looking good. I thinned it out last week as well, so a lot less fruit going on there, but thinner. Thinned it out to 6 inches or so, and that has helped reduce the weight on it and made the peaches, you can see they're fatter and juicier than they will be by the end of the time they're ready for harvest for sure. And the aphid problem has pretty much gone away. There's some of the damaged leaves that were still here from before, but don't see any active aphids at all. Those ladybugs moved in and kicked ass. So I still haven't seen any manted activity. I don't know if they did harvest or hatch and they're just invisible to my eyes or what, but I haven't seen them anywhere. So I don't know, but the ladybugs took care of it. So anywho, looks good with the peach tree. We didn't have any peach tree borer problems last year, so I think we'll just probably won't need to spray for them this year. The pear tree, second pear tree, looks good. I thinned it as well. I still need to come and pull these limbs back. All the stuff is sagging the branches down there and all up against there. But other than that, it was nothing, no big changes. I thinned it out so that it would be one fruit per cluster there, just like you do with all the pome trees, the apple and the pear. And looks good. The apricot tree is big. Not a lot of fruit, of course, because of the frost, but looking good. No problems, no worms, no bugs, no nothing. The few little fruit that I do have still look good. They're here, right there, looking good. These were approximately the same size that I had last year when they were ready. So hopefully another month or so they will be nice and fatter and even better. So anyway, that looks good. There's no issues that I can see for that, and that's that. So with the raspberries, they are incredibly productive and they are ripe. So they're all over the place, going crazy, and you can see right there some red ones, and just I don't even think it was a week ago that there weren't any. So there it is. Tastes delicious, no problems. Sweet, fantastic. The only problem is trying to get in there and harvest all of them, because I didn't thin them out. So, but looking good. So we've got raspberries. We'll have these cherries pretty soon. The last thing is, of course, the strawberries. The strawberries have, once again had a pretty disappointing crop this year. I was just taking some pictures and looking around, and there were some big ones, but then the potato bugs have been eating them, or roly-polies, or pill bugs, whatever you call them. Those little guys were out here munching on my strawberries. I busted some of them right there on that one. But see, there's some that are big. I did taste some. They're fairly okay, not too bad. Just very, very small. I mean, you can see here with this cherry that I have, they're smaller than the cherries, and about the same size as a raspberry. But just now, I mean, didn't really pay close attention to them this week, so they're starting to get a little overripe, and the bugs the little roly-polies are eating them, but they still weren't that very sweet, and definitely not large. Like I said, want them to be bigger than a stinking cherry. But anyway, that's what we got. So we'll try to get them under control next year. Take some of the runners I saw over there developing, cut them, transplant them to the box, and then hopefully that'll be part of the problem. If not, we'll just have to pull them out and start over, because it's kind of just mostly disappointing to have all these strawberries, but so tiny and so few. So hopefully we'll find the problem, and hopefully it's the fact that the mothers are producing all these runners, and we'll be able to start it over and then not have so many runners, clip the runners. That's what people say. But in here, it's been such a mess. There's no way to really keep track of all the runners and stuff. So anyway, that's it. So we got a few strawberries, which are tiny and finally sweet. A ton of raspberries, which is great, and the cherries will be anytime now. And everything's looking good other than that. Thanks for watching the orchard.